So I'm gonna have to take two of this. This is actually the second time I'm gonna try to shoot this video. But anyways, regardless, I recently posted a couple of videos where my wife and I went on our honeymoon last year and we went to Greece, a dream of hers, and it was an amazingly wonderful experience. Some of, if not the best food we've had on a vacation, or in general. This video is going to kind of go into longer, more excruciating rant-like detail of the two previous videos I posted where Anna and I were in Santorini and Athens. We got to do a catamaran cruise around Santorini. We did a bit of exploring around Athens, mostly around the ruins. Now, there was a lot more to our trip than just those two experiences, but I took a lot more photos of those kinds of things. When it came to video, my video was actually pretty limited to these super touristy activities. And I feel like the videos don't do enough justice to everything that was happening there, and I kind of wanted to give a little bit more info about both experiences. So, you know, breaking this one down, this is going to be a little bit more about what it was like to be on the boat, the catamaran cruise. The video itself, you'll see us starting out in the dock area, pulling out. So there's two seating areas really. It's the back of the boat, which is this nice little couch-like area. This is also where we got fed our lunch on this cruise. I think it was like 4 hours, maybe 4 to 6 hours. If you look at the weather on this though, you'll notice that it doesn't look great. And you know, until you see the break in the sky there, where you see the nice blue sky clearly. We woke up for this unsure if this cruise tour was gonna happen because it was raining so damn hard that we were fairly confident they would just have to cancel because it was like a storm. But we ended up calling our front desk, who was in charge of coordinating with the boat cruise company, and within like the last 30 minutes, half hour, 30 minutes or hour, they were like, nope, we should be able to take you. I think it's going to clear up. And it, you know, it started off gloomy like this, but by the end of it, we got the perfect, picturesque Santorini sunset on the water. Everything my wife could have asked for. It was truly gorgeous. Here's a video of us. There's me drinking. I was drinking quick. Luckily on this boat tour, the beer and wine were unlimited along with the soft drinks and water. So I took full advantage of that when it started happening, which was immediately. We pretty much sat down, got our plan started. As we were preparing to pull out of the docks, they were like, you want beer? I was like, yes, I do. It's delicious beer too. It's some of the best beer I've had. Very light, very easy to drink, which I thought was really good for this. Now, when you meet your crew captain, it was a captain and just the first mate. First mate was the guy you saw walking there. It was just the two people managing this smaller catamaran. And actually, I don't even know if it was a smaller catamaran. This is maybe normal size catamaran. It only needs two people. We went over our plan, and so we are on our way to the sulfuric volcano hot springs, which is just these sulfuric vents in the water, and then it, you know, makes the water super hot, very, very salty, but it's like something you want to swim in. So we got to do that. On our way there, the first mate dude was the one who was kind of in charge of describing what's around us, the sights, which included a few of the things I remember because this was last year and I should have done this video a lot sooner. The black sand beach, the red sand beach, and then we that's on the way to the sulfuric hot springs, and then we go to the next area, which is where we would swim with the fishes, and that was really cool. And we did the swimming with the fishes while they made our lunch. That was like a really, really cool experience. What he's pointing out right now, you'll see in the very middle there, this is kind of like small area. If you kind of hear him, might not be able to hear him because of my talking, but that was it's like a little beach area, and there's a little shop there. They were closed up though, and no one's there because of the, you know, really bad weather. Please ignore my terrible camera work. I was working with a new gimbal and I was really messing around with it, which is why you'll see such really headache inducing camera movements and jarring like zoom ins and zoom outs. It's really unsteady and unstable looking. I'm not happy about it. But throughout this experience he would like leave us to just enjoy being up there on the front of the boat, drinking and taking it all in. And when he would come up, he would offer to take photos at certain areas, or if there was something worth noting, he would give us a little bit of information about that in terms of what we were seeing, what we were passing by. But here, like, you can really see the sun starting to come up. That's a little chapel. You can really start to see that if I would just pan to the goddamn left. Is that a chapel? No, that's a lighthouse. I'm stupid. There's a little bit of break in the clouds. There's my wife. Lovely. I always like to make her feel awkward. She's so cute. But there, you start to see a lot more of the, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands here. You start to see a lot more of the blue skies and sun come out.
We were just getting on a boat.
We were just getting on a boat. So, we go around this. So this next area, we're going to be able, this is like still on our way to the sulfuric hot springs where we did the first swimming, which me and Anna were a little scared to do because we're not great swimmers. We can move through water. We cannot tread water. We do not float. We are sinkers, not swimmers. Pool noodles are a lifesaver. Would not have been able to get in the water and felt comfortable without that pool noodle. First time ever using a pool noodle, like really, when they first handed me the pool noodle to jump in, I was like, this is a kid's toy. No, it is a goddamn flotation device, and it is amazing. I love pool noodles now. Anyways, the sulfuric hot springs felt so nice to jump into. Extremely warm, super comfortable, like going into a heated pool. My skin felt so soft and smooth when I came out. Maybe that was some sort of like, placebo effect from being like, oh, I was in sulfuric hot springs, my skin has to be amazing. But it did truly feel amazing to me and Anna when we got in and out of that water. They do warn you, try to keep your mouth closed. I fucked that up once, and the salty taste was insane. It was disgusting, to the point where I needed like 2 or 3 beers to just wash the taste out of my mouth of how that hot spring water was. This is me being full touristy, taking video of goats. So in this next area, this is where we docked. This is when they were preparing lunch for us, the captain and the first mate, which was a fantastic meal. And it was really cool too, is like, it wasn't exactly supposed to be the two of us. Like, we didn't book a private tour, but we were the only ones on this one. So it felt really, personal, and it was great about that too, because we were on our honeymoon. We kind of loved just being like, this is our private catamaran boat tour, and that made it a lot more intimate and romantic for us, which, honeymoon vibes, that's what you want, right? That's a little village they were talking about. I don't know if I got, oh god, terrible video work here, a video of it, but there's like stairs from this bottom area to the top, and like apparently that's like over 500 steps. I know, it's ridiculous. But that area we're in before is where we got to swim with the fishes. And what's really cool is the differences between the two areas you stop to swim in, where the sulfuric hot springs is super dark, obviously because of the sulfur, where the area we were near this town where we docked was super clear, like straight to the bottom ocean floor or sea floor. Clearly see it. I could see all the fish around us. I could try to touch the fish. Obviously I wasn't able to because they all kept swimming away from me. I tried, but they were there. I could see everything. It was so cool to see the contrast of what those two experiences were like, and I had so much fun doing it. Now, this is, what people really should be coming on this tour for, is the end, the sunset. Luckily, despite that really crazy weather before that might have prevented us from getting on this boat, doing this experience, we got the perfect Santorini sunset. And it's a thing I think a lot of people talk about. It's like Santorini has like one of the most gorgeous sunsets in the world. It truly was that. It was an amazing sunset. I don't think I've seen a better sunset in my life. And we got to do it We're over here heading to where we're going to just dock so that we can just stay in the water until that sun goes all the way down. And we did. We watched the sun go all the way down. We got a lot of great video of that, and more importantly, like, Anna was just so happy to get that experience, which I think was one of the things she truly just wanted out of that, was a Santorini sunset. Another really cool thing, I'll just talk about it because I didn't capture any video of it, that was really cool to experience, is during this time we were there for the weekend of the volcano. They call a local called it a representation, and this was recommended to go to us by this was recommended for us to go to by a driver who was dropping us off at, I don't even remember, I think dinner the day before, but was letting us know that this this fireworks reenactment representation celebration happens once a year, and we just happened to be there on the night it fell, so we were able to go to that. And it was cool. It was a little fireworks show that commemorates, the volcano eruptions that formed the island of Santorini, if I remember correctly. Then there's the beautiful sunset, amazing. So if you are going to Santorini and you have an open itinerary for a day, I 100% wholeheartedly recommend doing a catamaran. Whether you're in a small group or a large group, I don't think you can go wrong as long as it happens. If you can get lucky enough and make sure to somehow ensure you have good weather where you can get this sunset. Obviously you also want sun, because being on a boat can be cold, sitting up up on the front there against the wind, against the water pushing and pulling your way. I think that sounded stupid what I just said, but you know what I mean. The wind, the seawater, it's all going towards you. Nice, clear, hot weather would be good for that. Anyways, here we are in Athens. Here we are checking out some ruins. So we did a whole experience where let me move a little quicker here because we're not seeing anything. We booked an experience that allowed us to check out all the different ruin sites in and around Athens. And it was a great deal. But honestly, unless you're a huge, buff for this kind of thing, maybe you're actually on an actual guided tour, I don't think this whole experience is worth it. For Anna and myself, we, were in charge of our own tour. We just booked the ability to check out all the sites. It was cool to check out a bunch of these sites, but not all of them are as visually stunning or impactful as others. This one was one that actually had a few things to look at, which was great. Oh, I also want to talk about the differences in the stone. You'll notice it in a few places, specifically the Acropolis, and a lot on the, these kind of tall structures that need support. But if you notice, the difference between the white-looking pieces versus the more tannish, yellowish, brownish pieces, that's the difference between original and restored. That's really it. But it's really cool to see how much was restored, and I understand the restoration purposes, because I think a lot of these larger pillar-like or tall-like structures just would not be able to be up anymore if there wasn't restoration involved. And restoration is constantly happening, which you will notice, particularly in the Acropolis. You'll notice some scaffolding and stuff like that, for hints that they are still working on some support and restoration of that. So this area toward the back leads to the remains and ruins of a library. But yeah, there's not really a whole lot to see, to be completely honest. And I feel like the need to scrub through a bit of that to kind of get over it. And just get through this to make sure I'm not doing this whole 50-minute long thing. Yeah, so really this is one area. This is the first one we checked into. Then we'll go into a few others. This one is one that had a few sites. So I forgot. I think it was 7-ish, maybe 9 sites total. That includes the Acropolis. I think only about 4 of them really had things to go and look at. This is one. And even then, it's not a whole lot. I think the next one, let me see if I can scrub through this. No, that did say library. Yeah, it did say library. So the next one, so this is us exiting. She'll take a photo for some people because my wife's really nice. I zoomed in on it for a reason. This is like some front pillars, not a lot of whole restoration on this one. But yeah, so you'll see these front pillars and this wall still pretty well preserved, which is really cool. So this next area we're going to, or that we're in, doesn't really have a whole lot. You basically are seeing everything here. It's not super wide because there's the right wall, and then to the left you'll see the left wall and restaurant umbrellas. I don't know why I'm taking video of nothing there. Don't really know. But yeah, so really the big thing to see here is all in the back. To the right you'll see a lot more like pillars, but in the back there's some stuff there. And I kind of show it in the video that I did. Oh, okay, oh God, I'm so stupid. Oh, I love my wife. Anyways, so we're gonna kind of walk through this. I'm gonna scrub through this a little bit, scrub through this. We're just walking. And you get back in, it's kind of where what's to see is here. So what's really cool is you'll see that these steps are still well preserved. There's this structure in the back. It's in the other video. You can see a little bit into it. But we're gonna walk up there. So so that's us walking up to get to there, and we're gonna go in. I'm just gonna speed it up. Okay, this is the ruins of the toilets. Not very exciting. So here's in those ruins, or already around the ruins. This is this particular building. I don't believe I saw or actually made the effort to look at what this actually was. So this is this thing, and it looks old, feels old, but it's kind of cool when you stand in there for a second because it feels like you're standing in a part of a different time. But it's roped off for me to be able to actually walk onto it, and I feel like it's not normally like that. So we're going to do a little bit more of a walk around this particular area so you can kind of see a little bit more around it. What am I doing? I'm just zooming in on a tree. No one wants to see that. Here's more to the right of that building. You'll see more steps. These areas that were preserved. I really think this little step way down to the right where this dude is chilling is really nice because it feels like really, really classic. Like these are the old original steps. That's what it felt like walking through that, and I thought that was kind of a cool little like out of my timeline experience. But a little bit of background on like this whole like all the sites tours. The map, when you actually look at the map where all these different sites are, they're not all close to each other. There are some that are pretty close and some that are actually far, and there might be like one or two little things to look at in the area. I think out of most of them, we saw, I think, 80% of all of these sites. And one thing I wanted to note is like, when we booked this whole experience to check out all these ruins, they asked for a time slot. And I assumed that as long as you made it to one of these sites by the time slot, you were fine. The time slot is specific only to the Acropolis. And I didn't know that until we later went to the Acropolis and they were like, oh, you missed your slot. And I was like, I thought... I explained to them my mindset, and they were like, no, the time slot is for your Acropolis entrance, time. And I was like, oh, crap. So that put me in a lot of trouble because the one thing that we have to do is now, we missed it. We missed our slot. So I had to wait in a line and just rebuy tickets so that we could do that. And we ended up doing it, but I was in trouble for a good while because of my fucking dumbass brain. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this little area. This was the archway, which is the exit and entrance. I just thought it was kind of cool to go through that. Kind of a cool experience. I don't know why. Going through like really, really dope entryways and exitways is just something that like I really love. I don't know why I love it, but I do. So yeah, that's us walking through that, and then you'll see this is the second biggest site. If we had the ability to choose which sites we could go to and only pay for those, it would be this particular site and the Acropolis. I can't remember what the site is called, but it's like on the way to the Acropolis, to be honest. I think you walk left of it and you can get to the Acropolis. But this site was pretty large. And it had the most to see outside of being on the Acropolis. In my opinion, it actually had the most to see in general, because for the Acropolis, if you don't include the things around it and you're only going up top, there's 2 things to see and then like a vista viewpoint. It's not a whole lot, but you go for, in my opinion, you go for the oh, hello. You are recording. I'm gonna skip through you. No offense, love, but I don't think you want to be on camera too much. There's the Acropolis too, so that we still have to walk all the way up there once we left this site. But yeah, realistically, there's 2 buildings on the top of the Acropolis and then the vista viewpoint. There are things around the base of the Acropolis that you could take a look at, but for the most part, they're pretty quick, and I'll show you in this video those things. But on this particular area, there's a bunch of ruins kind of in the middle. To the left, you're gonna find there's that long building right here. That's a 2-story now museum, which was really cool to check out. Didn't think there was that. There's a building in the back of that, to the right of that building and corner, that is really cool. And then over here to the right, I'll show it when we actually go up to it, is a building that looks like it's structured just like the Acropolis. It was really cool. But let's get to the museum. This is us walking over. There's some things around here. I think this area is under construction. Or no, I think this is actually like an excavation area or something. Like actively people are like excavating that area. This is some stuff, ruins left over. And it's a lot of walking, by the way. I forgot to mention that. I mean, it should be self-explanatory. But doing this whole tour and trying to check out all the sites, extremely long. A lot of time. It is exhausting, and it is something you should prepare for. Make sure you have water, and make sure you have appropriate shoes for it. If you are going on a hot day, dress appropriately. Going on a colder day, dress appropriately. But a big one is just prepare your feet, because one, it's not just lots of walking. Think about the terrain you're walking on in this. It's not always paved, or even if it is, it's like uneven cobblestone and things like that. And if you're going up to the Acropolis specifically, it's vertical. It's really vertical for a good while. So just, prepare for that. But yeah, so this is us going in. It's actually really cool. Inside was a lot more modern than I thought it would be. So it's 2 floors. And if you see that doorway there, so this first floor, there's another whole like museum area that is about the length of this building there, with like, classic museum style display cases and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. We had a lot of fun doing it. So another thing too is we were very cognizant of be respectful in these kinds of places. These are parts of history that are well preserved, but that doesn't mean that they're like super sturdy. We noticed a lot of people getting reprimanded by staff in there because they were having a good time but being a little disrespectful and touching things. It's a museum, don't touch. Shouldn't have to be reprimanded for that. But so in this middle area, it's a lot of these kinds of ruins. So not really a whole lot to see unless you really want to go see it. Eventually we'll... Oh yeah, so here's a little bit more video of me terribly zooming up at the Acropolis. So this is another building, this small one here to the left. That's the building I was saying that was in like the back next to the library area. There's more of the Acropolis. That's one of the 2 buildings. And then you saw the elevator. That was really sketchy. I believe you can only use the elevator if you have like a medical emergency. So to the right there, you'll see that one building peeking above the trees. That is the other big thing to take a look at in this particular plot of land. There's some statues there. Don't really know much about them. But yeah, so we'll eventually make our way through more, and we're making our way to that really cool little building that is like a mini Acropolis. I love, and just doing it really slowly. I'm just trying to speed things up a little bit. So here we are. So it's a little bit of a walk up, not too crazy, not as crazy as like the Acropolis. But I actually thought it was, picturesquely speaking, the prettiest and most like scenic little walk, because you have these nice steps and you have these trees that come that kind of encapsulate, or I don't know what word I'm trying to think, but it's just nice. It's scenic, especially with the way the weather was that day. So we're gonna get up here, and then you're gonna come up here to this structure. And it's just beautiful. It's gorgeous. And this one is pretty well maintained, to be completely honest. The fact that it's still up in the way it is. Mav, what are you barking at? In my opinion, this one is actually even, I think, better preserved whole structurally, because look at it compared to the Acropolis. Once we get to the Acropolis, you'll see what I mean. Maybe. So Anna and I kind of just look around it, take a few more videos of things around with my terrible work. I'm just going to walk around it. I think eventually, yeah, it's just walking around it. Nothing too crazy. Oh, cats. Cats are everywhere. We notice in Athens in particular. In Santorini, there are a lot of stray animals, cats and dogs, but I felt like I mostly saw dogs out there. Strays are such a thing out there that they actually ask for tourists and people to, buy dog food and cat food and leave it out for the strays, because like they need homes, but it's just not happening for them. So yeah, and this is us doing a little bit more of a close up at that last structure. There's nothing inside that we were able to see. Doors were closed, but you can take a look around it. Yeah, it's a very beautiful building, and it's very well preserved and maintained, but that's really all there is. And then this is going to be us making our way. No, we're not making. Eventually, we're here. So after this, you're going to see us at the base of the Acropolis. This is a little Colosseum-like thing that we're looking at here. So there's that. Yeah, this is a little Colosseum-like thing, and then you'll see, there's the more building up top. So this is more around the base. We're still just kind of taking a look around. Some more stuff. There's this next area here where you have some pieces of stone for you to look at and read about. Why they're there, why they're preserved, and then a little bit more to the right of that, further down, you'll see some of this. And if you notice here, you'll see a lot more of that like preserved stone versus the original stonework versus the restored ones. This is a little Colosseum like thing. Just outside the base, you can see there's everything we need to get up top those walls. And this is us finally making our way up to the front. This is the entrance. Really, really cool, very impactful, really dope to see. And also you can get an idea of just how high up we are based off, that on the left. But yeah, here's us still kind of moving around, looking, taking in the view before we make our way up. And then this is us doing that. There's another example of the restored stonework versus the original. Lots of stairs up here to get up to the top. Really cool entrance way to get up here. Once again, huge fan of entranceways, but this is what you come up to. There are your two structures, right? And the big one on the right is the one that I'm saying, like that smaller one. There's the big structure compared to it, and this one just looks like it's been damaged by the test of time a little bit more elements, because it's up here, it probably gets hit harder. Anyways, it's a pretty big area to walk around, but there's just those two buildings to see plus the vista point, which we'll get to. There's a little over 5 minutes left on this, and I'm gonna kind of just wrap up my thoughts on it all. I already said if you're going to do it, in Santorini, book your catamaran cruise. I don't think you'll regret it, regardless of the kind of group or experience you want. I think it's all going to be solid, and it's just wonderful to do. If you can, jump in the water. I don't think you want to miss that chance, and they will prepare you for it. But be honest with them and honest to yourselves about your swimming level and comfortability, and they will take care of you to make sure that you are safe. For Athens, when it comes to the tourist sites, like I said, unless you really want to see all of them, you feel some sort of particular need to, I believe at the very least, if you do the Acropolis, then you are good. Make sure you understand how the time slots work, and don't fuck it up like I did and be on time. The time slot is just for your entrance. It's not a time slot of how long you get to be up there. So once you're in. Stay as long as you want. I would hopefully recommend you try to do it on a day where the weather is nice. Maybe not super hot, but good, like clear skies, or at least, mostly clear like this. It was great. It does get very busy. There are crowds in the areas that you would expect there to be crowds in. But realistically, like, we had to make a whole day out of it because we had so many sites. I feel like it would have been better if we, after going, we're like, this is it. Like I said, this site and the one with the library were the only two that I thought were like really worth taking your time, slowing down, and exploring. A bunch of the other ones were kind of like what you saw in the beginning. There's maybe one or two things, some of them maybe even less things to look at, but for the most part, if you get the Acropolis in, I think you'll be more than satisfied. This is that vista viewpoint I was talking about, towards the back of it all, up here on the top of the Acropolis. You see a lot of people there. One, it's also natural seating because of the stone. But yeah, it's a good vista view. You get an idea of just everything around it and how big Athens is, and just what's how beautiful it is too. You'll see some more terrible camera work from me. But anyways, like I said, as I wrap this up, if you haven't gone, I think you should. I think Athens and Greece are amazing. I think Santorini is a wonderful sort of vacation couple getaway. Athens, though, what we really ended up doing most nights was bars. We went to a lot of bars. Had a lot of fun. Really dope bar scene out there. Some amazing drinks, some amazing vibes. And then food, we did a good job of just kind of looking for, hey, do you think this is good? Let's just stop here. And we were never disappointed with that. There were some places that were recommended or that we had looked into beforehand and we got to see, and those were also fantastic. But for the most part, I don't think you can really go wrong. This site, we did walk over to it, and that is really all there is. It's just those pillars and that plot of land. But that's where I believe an Olympics was held, and that's part of the reason we went there. But to be honest, that whole thing was really underwhelming, and it was the farthest walk from everything else. That was the only site in that area, and that's all there was. So that was kind of rough. But yeah, this is us kind of wrapping up. We're kind of resting as we prep to make our way back down and kind of finish our time being tourist ruin explorers. But yeah, so like I said, Athens-wise, Acropolis at the minimum is all you really need, I believe, and you'll get what you want out of it, and then you don't waste your whole day doing a lot of walking unless you really have a tour guide with you who wants to make more out of the experience for you, or you just feel the need to check everything out. Besides that, though, we would absolutely go back to both places. We absolutely want to go back to Greece in general and check out some of the other islands. But for our honeymoon, we definitely got two very different experiences. We also started in Santorini and did Greece. We should have flipped that, to be honest, so we could start doing this touristy stuff and end doing the what feels like a honeymoon stuff. But either way, it was a beautiful, amazing, truly priceless time where we got to do things we never really thought we'd get to do, and I'm super, super thankful for that. This was a great idea. I'm glad Anna wanted to go to Greece because it was just beautiful. So that's gonna pretty much wrap this up. There's the end of the video right there. Terrible end still. And Thanks for letting me rant. And footage wasn't great, but it's what I had. And yeah, all right, later on.
So, I actually did manage to go through my library and find this footage of the last site we visited. And it is quite a distance away from where we were at the Acropolis, as you can see from that zoom in shot right there. And if you were looking at the Acropolis footage from when we were up top, I did zoom in on a particular site, and it's this site. So this is the one where I mentioned I think that this was where an Olympics was held. So we walked here. It was the furthest walk we had to go from one site to another, and it wasn't just because it was located by the because we started at the Acropolis. It's just this was really far. Um, you can kind of see the distance in the zoom up shot that was in this little clip earlier, and the shot from where we were at the Acropolis up high. There is not a lot to the site for the most part. It is basically just that little strip area of the pillars. There's these little outside rocks and left like pieces of what used to be there, but that's pretty much it for this particular site. There's a lot more to walk, but not a lot to see. Like the walking area here is pretty huge, but you're really just seeing what remains of this plot of like grass and then the remaining pillars that used to be a bigger structure, but that is really it. So that's what you're getting. Like we even though we're seeing it all, what we're doing is basically walking around to see it from all the angles from the three sides you have available of this rectangular area. But that's it. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything since I found this. So I'm adding it into this budget and giving a little bit of commentary. Pretty underwhelming, I'll be honest. We kind of like got here, did it, and left, and we're like, man, I can't believe we walked so far. We spent more time walking to this site from the Acropolis than actually being on it. So that's it, y'all. Thanks for watching.